Hello guys. So, first of all, I come to you in my shed with my pajamas and a cardigan on. Um, and I realized that I hadn't really done a life update for a second. And the last one I did was a really positive one, telling you that I moved into the house that I'm staying in still. And um since then, some things that have changed are, well, I was second assistant manager at the job that I had for a little over a month. I'd say like 6 weeks or so. And then a harassment thing happened, and the whole interaction was I went to the drive through window. I recognized an old coworker I used to have, and then he had a buddy in the car. His buddy was the one acting a fool. But I was at the drive-through window, taking their payment, giving them their food, all that stuff. And I said, "Hey, how are you guys?" And then they said, "Yeah, we're good." And then I said, "Got anything fun to do later on tonight?" And the passenger said, "Hopefully you later." And I said, "No, thank you. I don't appreciate the way you're talking to me, and I would appreciate if you stopped." And he said, "But that backside be looking fine as fuck, though." And I said, well, while I was getting their drinks, I walked back over to the window. I said, "Here's the straws, here's the drinks, get out of my drive-through." That was the whole interaction, but it had me spiraling. I was like, what the? I'm at work. I didn't think about that ever being a possibility of a customer. And then I brought it up at the manager meeting, and the general manager, she brushed it off. And then I texted her boss about it, and she said that manager meetings are only supposed to be for numbers and stuff. But then I had a sit-down meeting with the general manager and her manager about what had happened. And the general manager said something along the lines of, "Well, you should be happy, right? And what would you want us to do about it? It was a customer, not an employee. We can't do anything about that." And then, yeah, I got up from the table from the meeting, said bye-bye, and quit that job. I was unemployed for a little over 2 months, and I finally found a job again. But yeah, it's not the same, that's for sure. And it was a $5 pay cut. I've been door dashing my ass off, but DoorDash isn't cutting it, and I'm behind on bills, but I'm slowly catching up. I've been paying the necessities, but now I am potentially going to lose my car, which is not a good thing. I've also had some childhood trauma stuff start showing up again, and that's not been fun. I confronted, and they gaslit about everything, even though my mom has the same memories as I do, and my dad just denies anything ever happened. So that's been interesting, and my dad helps and then makes me feel bad about it. I tried to sell my art for the entire time that I was unemployed, but everyone just kept laugh reacting to it whenever I would post about it on Facebook. And my mental health really couldn't support it. I did not leave the house for 6 weeks. The agoraphobia through the roof. Couldn't go outside. I would even panic whenever I went to my mailbox, which is like maybe 10 feet from my house, and a car would drive by. I freaked out and I would run back in and lock the door. I did not go outside, and I definitely did not leave my house for 6 weeks. It was bad. I still have some days where I don't leave the house because the agoraphobia is too high, and I definitely do not leave by myself. I've applied for disability, got denied the first time, in the process of an appeal. Yeah, went from working 63 hours a week on average to none, and being home all day with 3 cats and just being like overwhelmed and just like, what do I do now? But some positives are I have acquired a boyfriend, and he's very supportive and very nice. Maybe one day you'll get to meet him. I don't know. And he Twitch streams. I support his twitching. That sounded weird. But I usually try to attend his Twitch streams whenever he plays games. And my friends have been supportive. Most of them, anyway. One of them, I had to end a 20-year friendship relationship, because her wife was bullying me. And she didn't do anything about it, except for whenever I told the friend, hey, your wife is still doing this behavior. And I don't want to be friends with someone who's married to a bully, and just a lot of different things like that. She just took a screenshot and sent it to her wife. Her wife said, well, if you have a problem with me, come to me about it, coward. And so I blocked both of them. Oh, also, whenever I left that job, 5 of 8 other managers also left. Tell me I can't team build. But, whatever.